So, about 3 years ago, I decided to return to Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Suzuki Roshi, this book which influenced me so much as a teenager. I received Dharma transmission around 4 years ago, and I was ordained as a Zen priest around 7 years ago. And after my Dharma transmission, I decided it was important for me to pay my respects, to show my gratitude to Shinryu Suzuki Roshi for this book, which influenced me so much when I read it first in the 1980s. So I began this series of readings in Zen Buddhism Ireland, our Sangha here, based in Dublin, and you know, it's a very slow, ongoing process over the last couple of years, and I'm just getting to return to it now. We're in the last quarter of the book at this stage, and this ongoing reading of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind with you, appropriately enough, brings us to Constancy today. Today, the shortest day of the year, the winter solstice, 2018. Constancy, page 83. The message for us today is cultivate your own spirit. It means not to go seeking for something outside of yourself. This is a very important point, and it is the only way to practice Zen. Of course, studying scriptures or reciting the sutra or sitting is Zen. Each of these activities should be Zen. But if your effort or practice does not have the right orientation, it will not work at all. Master Suzuki here is sharing with us really the teaching of Wenon, the great sixth ancestor of the Chan tradition, as taught in his Platform Sutra and as carried down to us through the lineage in the teachings contained therein. This is the teaching of the unmediated, direct experience of awakening through Zazen, not so much through chanting and study and ritual, although all those are very, very important in the Zen tradition as well, but through this direct experience of the self, experiencing the self. The message for us today is cultivate your own spirit. It means not to go seeking for something outside of yourself. This is a very important point, and it is the only way to practice Zen. It is quite usual for us to gather pieces of information from various sources, thinking in this way to increase our knowledge. Actually, following this way, we end up not knowing anything at all. So, in a way, this is part of a Zen sickness, to continue to gather pieces of knowledge. And you'll meet people in the world of practice that are coming from a very intellectual place and coming from a place of learning. But it is someone beyond learning. This is something beyond learning. Prajna, you see, is not knowledge in the academic sense. It is not knowledge as learning. Prajna, which we are cultivating in Zazen, is the original knowledge before learning. It is the wisdom beyond wisdom. So, what Shinryu Suzuki is getting at in this chapter of Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind today, is that to gather up all these bits and pieces of learning, to be able to quote sutras, to have read one of the 1,000 of Mahayana sutras 5,000 plus, to be steeped in an academic kind of study of the Chan and Zen traditions. This is not the point. This comes from Weinon, from the sixth ancestor. It's very clear that this simple, direct apprehension of reality as it is the practice of Zazen. And that happens on the cushion. And you see, we come to this practice in the awareness that that journey of study and knowledge, while valuable, does not arrive at a direct apprehension and encounter with the truth of things as they are. And that's what we experience, and that's what we live on the cushion of practice in the Zen tradition. So it's not that this study and this intellectual understanding is important, it is that it is of secondary importance. The primary importance is practice, is opening up to the truth of things. In China, Rozan is famous for its misty scenery. I have not been to China yet, but there must be beautiful mountains there, and to see the white clouds or mist come and go through the mountains must be a very wonderful sight. Although it is wonderful, a Chinese poem says, Rozan is famous for its misty, rainy days, and the great river Seko for its tide coming and going. That is all. That is all. Nothing more than reality. Not reality, oh, might it mean this, might it mean that, might it mean let's debate it, let's discuss it, let's study it, let's turn it upside down, let's turn it inside out, no. Coming to a place of rest and letting it appear by itself. Because it was always there. If we stopped and allowed it to show itself, here it is, at any given moment. The simplicity of Zen is its difficulty. The Rozan is famous for its misty rainy days, as they are, and the river for its tide coming and going. That's all. That is all to this Zen practice is the most difficult thing about it. That we constantly are looking for new toys, new pieces of knowledge, new sutras to study, new return and return again and continue to return. This is the Zen way. We should not hoard knowledge. We should be free from our knowledge. If you collect various pieces of knowledge, as a collection it may be very good, so, as Shinru Suzuki is saying here, he's not knocking this academic study, this learning, but this is not our way. So we should not try to surprise people by our wonderful treasures. So above and beyond displaying our great learning, what is most important is our ability to just practice, I've always said that you must be very patient if you want to understand Buddhism, but I have been seeking for a better word than patience. The usual translation of the Japanese word nin is patience, but perhaps constancy is a better word. you must force yourself to be patient. But in constancy, there's no particular effort involved. There's only the unchanging ability to accept things as they are. True patience is not about waiting in an uncomplaining way. The ability to be patient, to wait and not complain. One teacher, may have been in the San Francisco lineage as well, said that true patience waits for nothing. So true patience isn't even waiting. So Nin, Shinru Suzuki is translating as constancy. And this is an important spirit to bring to our practice. Everything is resolved in constancy. All obstacles are overcome with constancy, with constant practice. So, we will not wait to finish Zen Mind Beginner's Mind. Zen Mind Beginner's Mind will be finished. So so patience has in it a kind of irritability, a suppressed irritability, whereas constancy has a spirit of openness and acceptance. And there's an important difference therein. And of course, in practicing Zen, the most difficult thing about Zen, people say Zen is difficult. It's not because you sit on the floor in a cross-legged position usually, although of course you can sit in a chair as well. But Zen is difficult because it is difficult to stay practicing over time, to be faithful to the practice, to be constant, and to bring this constancy to your practice. Nin is the way we cultivate our own spirit. Nin is our way of continuous practice. We should always live in the dark, empty sky, the sky that is always the sky. This is an image of spaciousness that contains anything that passes through it. Emptiness, sunyata, image of sunyata. Even if the flashing of enlightenment comes, our practice forgets all about it. Then it is ready for another enlightenment. It is necessary for us to have enlightenments one after another, if possible, moment after moment. This is what is called enlightenment before you attain it and after you attain it. So in our tradition, in the Soto way, we don't so much emphasize this big kensho, this big satori experience. We make our seat at the heart of the ordinary, where practice, as Dogen teaches us in the Shobogenzo, where practice and enlightenment are one. To sit is to be enlightened. Enlightened in this moment, only in this moment. When else can you be enlightened? You know, in the future, in the past? No, this moment, this moment, this moment. And in this place, where you are. Not in Tibet, Japan, the Himalayas, not in the caves of Thailand, not in the mountains of Nepal, unless, of course, that's where you are. But for me, here I am in Dublin. There you are, where you are. Where you are is the seat of enlightenment. Nowhere else. and enlightenment is here, not at some other time. And it is ordinary. It is ordinary. Myozan is famous for its misty rainy days, and the great river Secco for its tide coming and going. That is all. So, thank you for your practice, your attention, and we'll continue at some stage, with page 86, communication. Sit every day and enjoy your life. Thank you.